A fat man was on a business trip in India when he noticed a little beggar constantly following him. The fat man took out a few coins from his pocket and gave them to the little beggar, making fun of the beggar's pitiful appearance. However, the fat man never imagined that not only did the little beggar understand his insulting words, but he also threw all the coins on the ground. Shortly after, while the fat man was in the airport restroom, he suddenly found the same beggar had followed him there. The fat man angrily put down the newspaper in his hand, ready to go out and teach the greedy little beggar a lesson. Surprisingly, the little beggar suddenly unleashed a force that knocked the 200-pound fat man to the ground and dragged him out of the restroom. Later, when the fat man's flight landed at Washington Airport, he walked into his hotel room in a daze, accompanied by the hotel waiter. The waiter immediately brought in the fat man's luggage and waited for him to tip. However, the fat man, who was usually generous, uncharacteristically turned his back on the waiter, showing no intention of giving a tip. The waiter had no choice but to accept his bad luck and left the hotel room disappointedly. Afterwards, the fat man sat on the bed, panting like a deflated ball. Suddenly, a large amount of blood inexplicably flowed out of his body, instantly staining the white hotel sheets red. The next day, when the police arrived at the hotel, they found no signs of a struggle at the scene. However, they discovered a set of fingerprints on the edge of the bedsheet that looked like they belonged to a small child's hand. They had no idea where these fingerprints came from. After performing an autopsy on the fat man, Dana discovered that most of his internal organs had been ruptured by some object, as if he had swallowed an elephant. If the fat man had been using his body to transport drugs, there would have been at least some residue left behind. However, Dana did not find any related components. Dana believed that the thing that killed the fat man must have been a very small object that could freely enter and exit their bodies, which would explain why the fingerprints found in the hotel were as small as a child's. Meanwhile, when a man applied for a janitor position at an elementary school, he was successfully hired at a salary far below the market rate. However, the principal never imagined that hidden beneath the man's handsome appearance was another identity, the Indian little beggar who had attacked the fat man. Soon after, a little boy named Tom went home from school. Just as Tom was getting into the car with his father, the newly hired janitor happened to see this scene. That night, as Tom lay in bed ready to sleep, he suddenly saw a little beggar appear at the bathroom door. He screamed in fear, calling his father over and telling him what he had just seen. His father thought Tom was just having a nightmare. After calming Tom down, the father left the room and went to the living room to watch a ball game. However, the little beggar silently appeared behind him. A scream woke up Tom, who quickly ran out of the bedroom to find his father already dead with red eyes. The next day, when Dana and her partner arrived at the scene, Detective Jack found many fingerprints similar to a child's in Tom's bedroom. Dana learned from Tom that a small beggar had appeared last night. She immediately realized that the little beggar was likely the murderer who had killed the fat man. This exciting plot is from the 8th season of The X-Files.